Hi, I'm Tom Metzloff, a professor at Duke Law School. Been here a while and going to talk today about the Supreme Court and the kind of cases it decides. Unlike a lot of appellate courts where the party files an appeal and the appellate court has to hear it, the Supreme Court has almost total control over the cases that they get to decide, which is kind of amazing. It's like, imagine you're a student and you get to decide what classes you want to go to. So you don't typically appeal to the Supreme Court. Rather, the party that wants the Supreme Court to review their case is called a petitioner, and they petition by filing a petition for a writ of certiorari. So hard to say that word, it gets shortened to cert petition. So the word is like you're petitioning the court, please take my case. And that's really what it is. In fact, one person said it's harder to get the Supreme Court to actually take your case than it is to win it in the Supreme Court. So to really understand the Supreme Court, you have to understand that those cases are really the tip of the iceberg in terms of the cases that potentially could be there. Now, the question is, what cases do they take? How do they decide what they take? The Supreme Court rule on that is pretty open-ended. It says, cases of public importance. And it really is up to each of those justices. There are 9 justices, and one of them has to sort of list the case. One of them has to say, hey, let's talk about whether we should grant cert in this case or not. So if one justice does that, then they need 4 justices to vote to grant cert. You don't need 5, that would be a majority, you need 4. And so you have to get 4 people to say we should hear this case. One of the real questions that people have is like, what's going on? Why is the Supreme Court deciding relatively so few cases compared to what they did in the 70s and 80s and 90s? And I don't think we have a perfect answer for that. Some of it is the individual preferences of the justices. So I had a clerk for Justice White. He thought that one of the most important reasons to grant cert was what? If there's a conflict in the circuits. We have 11 circuit courts of appeals and some other specialty courts. But if, let's say, the 4th Circuit, which is in North Carolina, Virginia, decides an issue one way, and then you get California, the 9th Circuit, decides it a different way, we call that a conflict. And a lot of people think one of the main purposes of the Supreme Court is to grant cases to resolve those conflicts.